everyone, and welcome to Inside Indy. Okay, we've got something special for you. This is kind of like a special report, okay? It is the Scam Tracker Risk Report from the Better Business Bureau. And here to tell us all about it is Tim Maniscalco, who is President and CEO of the BBB serving Central Indiana. Welcome, Timothy. Should I call you Timothy or Tim?
Tim, I go by Tim.
Tim, okay. Okay, so you've got this report that is going to help us avoid being scammed because you've done a lot of research, right?
Yeah, what this report is if you go on our website and go to scamtracker.org, what'll pop up is a map and you can see all of the scams that have been reported in this particular area. And what that is these are consumers. They go on our website, they'll click on the report a scam button, report the scam, and so we've got scams coming in on a daily basis. It's all the time people are reporting things, either they've been scammed or attempted to be scammed. So what we do with that information each year is we take all of those reports, we compile them, we look at all the data, look to see who gets scammed, what are the most prevalent scams out there, what age groups are being scammed, how are people falling for these scams, and it's a pretty rich database. There was over 50,000 scams across the nation reported to us in 2018. So we've got 50,000 scams that we can look at in a bunch of different ways and really see, what's going on out there in terms of scams that are getting more prevalent, the types of tactics that people are using. So it's a great tool out there, and scamtracker.org is a great way for people to keep informed. So if you want to know what's going on, just go to scamtracker.org. Okay. You can look to see what's going on in your area, and if you get scammed, please report it to us, because that's how we keep everybody informed, and that's how we can generate the data that we've got.
Okay, so what's the biggest scam going right now?
Well, the one that popped up in 2018 was the employment scam. And this is how this works. Most of these are work-at-home sort of offers where they say, hey, you can make $1,000 a week working from home. And here's how it works. They say, here's an offer to work at home, but you're going to need some sort of training materials or maybe some software or something to get started. So they will send you a check, and it looks like a legitimate check. Might be for $1,000, and then they'll say, okay, take some of that money and purchase the software from this other company over here. Well, a couple things happen. Number one, that check that they sent you for $1,000, that's no good. That's going to bounce in about 10 days. So you're going to go to the bank, you're going to deposit that check, and then you're going to write a good check out of your account to this other company, so to speak, that is selling the software or the training materials or something like that. And that company doesn't exist. The training materials don't exist. It's all kind of connected.
That's good. They're good. That's
yes.
Good.
So a couple things happen. Number one, you're out the money. Number two, you think you've got this great job where you can work at home, make $1,000 a week or something like that. That job doesn't exist. And you've probably got some charges from the bank because you deposited a check that wasn't any good. So that's how it is. And I tell you, I think the reason that the employment scam really jumped up this year was Amazon was out. They were trying to get their second headquarters. So a lot of people knew that, particularly here in Central Indiana, because we were one of the finalists in terms of cities for the Amazon headquarters. Right. And they posed as Amazon, saying, hey, we've got this job. It's with Amazon. You can work at home. A lot of people fell for that because they thought Amazon was out looking for employees. So that one really rose to the top this year. We had not seen that in years past, but this year, in 2018, it was the top scam.
And that is the trend now. More people are working from home, and businesses can alleviate the overhead of a building. And of course, we do so much work online or a lot of our business, whether it's paying bills or shopping. So you would think that jobs would be available to do internet type things. And
they've got great sort of explanations of what these jobs are, and it sounds very legitimate. So you think, just like you said, hey, yeah, this is something I can do from my home.
So in a case like that, this particular scam that you just mentioned, what do I do to avoid being pulled into that?
Being scammed. Yeah, how do you avoid?
Yeah. What do you?
Well, first off, in a legitimate sort of employment situation, you're not going to be asked to pay some money up front like that. That's just not how it's going to work. If you do need some materials or something like that, almost always the employer is going to supply it for you. So if anybody's asking you to pay some money up front, even if they give you money with a check, don't fall for that. That's a real red flag right there. Number two, if you get an unsolicited sort of email just saying, "Hey, here's a great offer for you," that's a real red flag. Also, that's not how companies go about recruiting. They just aren't sending out sort of unsolicited emails or something on social media. And number three, check it out with the company. If you think this is legitimate, call up Amazon or whoever might be offering the job and just say, "Hey, I got this offer. Are you guys really doing this?" And they're going to be able to tell you. So those are some of the red flags you really need to watch out for. But don't be giving anybody any money unless you're absolutely 100% certain that it is a legitimate situation. And we found very, very few of these work-at-home jobs actually, exist as a job.
Okay. What about those signs that you see around town that'll say they're offering employment or make $1,000 part-time? Do you follow that kind of thing? I know we're talking about internet, but that just popped in my head.
Yeah.
You see a lot of signs out there for jobs.
Yeah, and we don't get a lot of complaints on those. So those may be legitimate jobs. I think what a lot of those are maybe door-to-door sales jobs, those types of things. So we don't have a lot of complaints on those. I don't know how lucrative those are, or what kind of work it is, but we don't get a lot of complaints on those.
Okay. Now, as a part of the BBB Scam Tracker Risk Report, it has the riskiest scams. So that is pretty much what you just explained to me. Is that the riskiest?
Yeah,
one?
and here's how it works. Yeah, we look at how prevalent the scam is, how much money people lose, and then what's your chance of losing it. And then we kind of do that calculation, and that gives us the top riskiest scams.
Okay. Now, what about age and in terms of who is being scammed more often?
Yeah, this is a really interesting one. A lot of people think that older people are scammed more often. Actually, it's millennials that get scammed more often. And the reason for that is almost all of your scams now are perpetrated some way through the internet. Email, social media, whatever it might be. Millennials use the internet. They trust the internet. They put out a lot of personal information on the internet.
Wow, yeah.
They're used to, just clicking and whatever. So the scammers know that, and they get scammed a lot. So millennials get scammed more often, but for a lesser amount of money on average. Older people get scammed less often, but for a higher amount. So you kind of have this, two graphs going this way and this way. So if you're a millennial, the chance of getting scammed is much higher, but you're going to lose maybe less. So it's kind of interesting how that goes.
Okay. Now, what about men versus women?
Now, this is another interesting one. They get scammed at about the same rate. Not a big difference there, but what the difference is the amount of money that they lose. Women on average lose about, on each scam, lose about $120. Men lose about $220. So pretty big difference in the amount of money on average that they lose.
So now, why do you think that is?
I've been asked that question many times. I don't know exactly why. Maybe men just have bigger toys or something that they want to get on the internet or something like that. I don't know what it might be. But that's what the statistics say. So, interesting. I guess win one for the.
A little more gullible, maybe.
Yeah.
No. Now,
put one for the women there.
Yeah, I have a friend. Her name is Teal Rivers Williams, and she's a vendor. And she's so funny. Around Valentine's Day, she says that she makes these gorgeous baskets, but she says the men are like zombies, like. Oh, and they give me the money, here's the money. And she said they'll have the money in their hand, And then where the women are kind of like, what's in this basket? So they scrutinize a little bit more.
I think there's something to said that they're a little more discerning, maybe a little more skeptical on things, ask a few more questions. So I'll just leave it at that.
One for the women's. No, women. Okay. You have another in-depth investigative study on romance scams.
Yeah, romance scams are very prevalent, and here's what happens a lot with romance scams. It'll tend to be someone who has had a mate for a long time, and maybe that mate passes away. They're very lonely. That something has really gone out of their life. The romance scammers over the internet, they'll find these people. they will start to establish a relationship with them. And then they will start to do things like ask for money. They're in a situation and they spend some money. And what happens is people get so emotionally involved with this person. They think it's real. They think this person is in love with them. They're fulfilling something, you know, that was lost in their life. And so they will give them money. They will go to, you know, great lengths, and the scammers will continue asking as long as you're giving them money. So as long as the money comes, they will continue to do that. And we've seen people lose thousands of dollars on that. In fact, daily in our office, there are people who are calling in asking about it, and we're pleading with them saying, don't send that money. That's just a scam.
So how are they reaching the victims though? Is this a Facebook thing, or is this a social media thing, or they're calling them on the phone? How are they communicating?
Yeah, there's a couple of different ways. I mean, you can go on a website, a dating website, and you can, you know, see who's out there looking for that. You can look at obituaries and see, you know, who may have lost a mate. There's a lot of information out there, and it's very inexpensive for them to kind of go out and fish for somebody, and then once they get somebody, you know, it can be very, very lucrative. So they put out a very wide net, hoping to catch just a couple people, and it just takes a few people to make it profitable.
I'll tell you something that came up on Facebook. I'll get a request, and it'll be like some general in the United States Army. Like they think, like, because he's a general, I'm going to respond. And what I'll do, I'll scroll down the invite, and then it's only like 2 or 3 pictures. So to me, that says you're not real, because a real person has a huge history. Typically on Facebook, they have some history, maybe 12 different posts or something. So anyway, okay. We just got about a minute to go. So how do we avoid this? What do you want us to do to not be a sucker?
Well, once again, you know, if you do strike up a relationship with someone online, and particularly if they want to get you like off the dating site and onto a private sort of communication, that type of thing, that's a real red flag. If they're asking for money and you never get to actually see them, never get to actually have a personal relationship with them where you actually get to know them that way, that's a real red flag. So just be very, very careful of those types of things. And if you know someone who's in this, it's sometimes very, very difficult to extract them from it because they're so emotionally involved. They target those people who,
they were in love.
They target somebody who's just lost something, you know, very, very dear to them in their life, and they're looking to fill that void. So it's tough because at that point you're emotionally involved.
That's a very sad scam.
It is a sad scam. It really is. We hate to see that.
Well, Tim, thanks so much for enlightening us once more and helping to keep us safe from these scam artists out there. Tim Maniscalco, President and CEO of the BBB serving Central Indiana. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
On Inside Indy. And we'll be back with more after this. And the Oscar goes to Judy Fitzgerald and Cynthia Collins. Here on Inside Indy, they're here in the studio with Judy, Associate Artistic Director and co-founder, of Actors Theater of Indiana.
That's correct.
Welcome to the show. And then Cynthia Collins is the Associate Artistic Director and co-founder of Actors Theater of Indiana. Welcome.
Correct. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now, you pulled back there, Cynthia, when I said the Oscar goes to.
Well, it would be the Tony.
I knew she was going to say
Tony goes
that.
to.
Okay, I get.
We're theater.
Once you've been stage, you know you're going to be in a big film.
An
at
Oscar's
some
a great
point.
thing, so that would be great.
You're right. But the Oscars are at the top of my mind, considering they were a
Absolutely.
couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that's right.
But I'm speaking things into
That's
it.
right.
That's after Broadway. So, well, tell us about Actors Theater of Indiana. Who wants to go first? And how that's all happened here in Indiana.
Well, we all moved here in 2005. We were, and our other co-founder, Don Farrell, the three of us, we moved here from New York City in 2005 and started Actors Theater of Indiana. And I'll let you take it from here. What do you want to say?
Well, like Judy said, we are all professional performers. Met working in New York. I'm a New Jersey native. Don is from Georgia, and
And
Judy is
I'm the
actually
one born and raised
the
from
Hoosier.
here. Yes.
Okay.
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 So we all met in the city working on a show, and worked together. You know, this is what happens. You know, it's a very small business, really. Really, it is a very, very small world. Theater is. You're about 1 degree away from everyone in the business. So anyway, we just kept working together, and then eventually we thought, well, maybe we could start a company, as crazy as that sounds. And so we did. And the reason why we came here, because Judy said, well, you know, listen, why don't we go out to Indiana, where I'm from? I want to be with my family. She was pregnant. She was going to have a baby. She's like, I want to raise
Well,
my
it's not just
child
that too.
in
And
Indiana.
on top of that, we came and met with Mayor Brainerd.
That's true,
And Jim
yeah.
Brainerd in 2004, when I was pregnant with my daughter, and he's like, we're going to build this huge, incredible, you know, building, state of the art, and really, we think you'd be wonderful being a part of this. So that really helped us. We weren't just like, let's figure it out. We had a plan.
Yeah.
And we moved here. It took us a while till it all got finished, and we went many different places performing in Indiana. But that was really the initial, that we met with the mayor and we saw this incredible vision that he had for the performing arts, and we thought that it's in Carmel, Indiana, and we thought that Carmel, there was a real place for us there.
And there was a need. There's
Yeah.
a need for more professional theater
We didn't
here.
think you had to go downtown where you could see professional theater, you know, right there in Carmel.
Right,
so-
okay.
Or
And
in
that-
Hamilton County.
Well, yeah, and the Center for the Performing Arts is a stunning center. You
Oh,
know,
yeah,
you have
absolutely,
you've been there.
yeah.
You have the Palladium, and then you have where we are, the Studio Theater, which is a lovely, intimate 200-seat theater.
nice, okay,
And then
okay.
there's the Tarkington Theater, which is a 500-seat. So you on that campus, there's such a variety
Right,
of live performing arts that's going on, and we're a part of it, which is
Absolutely
wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, one of the, I was thinking of Beef and Boards. We do a lot of business with
Yeah.
them. And somebody was saying, like, they're the only, and I'm not sure what you call it.
They're a dinner
theater.
theater.
Dinner theaters.
There's
There's
dinner
not
theater.
many left of those in the
No.
country.
There's not,
Oh,
and we've
no.
all worked there. We've all worked at Beef and Boards.
Yes.
I mean,
Not when we lived here.
Not when we as performers.
We came in
as,
and worked.
Yeah, as
Yes.
performers, we've all worked there.
Yes. Okay.
And I do hand it to them. They're one of the last dinner theaters in the country.
Isn't that
It's
amazing?
And they're
not
professional.
Easy. And they're an
Yeah.
equity theater company. They're professional, of course, because
Oh,
we're members of Actors Equity
as we are.
Association, of
Okay.
course,
Okay.
which is the professional union of actors and stage managers in the United States.
Okay.
Proud member since '91. When did you join?
93?
Okay, yeah, and so,
okay. I
so
love
that's,
it.
and that's what, of course, Actors Theater of Indiana is. We are a professional equity theater company.
And the only professional theater
yeah,
company in Hamilton,
Hamilton County, yes.
Wow,
Yes,
okay.
but you only have about 4 really professional theater companies here in central Indiana, maybe 5, you know, yeah. So it's us, Beef and Boards, IRT, and the Phoenix
Right,
are the
yeah,
main
Phoenix
ones.
Theater, yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well,
Yeah.
so what about somebody out there who is aspiring to be an actor or an actress? What do you say to them? And because I'm sure you got a lot of people who dream about that, but
Sure.
it's a different world than probably what we perceive it to be.
It is. It's more hard work than I think
Yeah.
people realize.
You have to be ready to work, and you have to be ready for rejection, and you have to be ready for that and know that this is what you want to do with all your heart. Because if you kind of think, I kind of want to do it, it's not the business for
It's
you.
not going to cut it,
No.
you know, because
No.
you, like you said, you're going to get a lot of rejection. You're going to, it's a very sporadic career. You're doing a show, and that show's over, and then you got to get on that, you know, get in there to those auditions again to get the next show, or you have to you always have to think ahead for yourself as an actor.
I mean,
Because
the three of
you
us
know,
work. I mean, we were in New York. That's where
and
we were. I was in
and
New York 16 years.
Yeah,
She
we're very
was,
lucky. I was
wow.
born
Yeah.
and raised there. I mean,
I'm
we
not
were,
sure.
we
Don
were-
was probably there around 16 years too.
Yeah, was he? Yeah, I
and
don't-
we,
yeah.
I mean, we stood online for audition.
I mean,
you
that's
get
what
there,
you do.
You get there at the crack of dawn, when it's still dark, and you wait, and you get your number, and then you come back later and audition, and you know, and the odds of getting it are slim, but you still get out there and do it.
But the
and
more
then
you
you get
work-
them, and then you get them.
You do, but the more you work, the more people you know.
That's right.
And so you
Okay.
want to, obviously, the more seasoned you get as a professional performer, the more directors you know,
Which is
the more
what eventually
choreographers you
happened.
know, which eventually you
Happened,
get asked
that's
to do. It gets it's a little easier, okay? A little easier if you are if you're talented, and
Yes.
That
B,
helps.
and
That
B,
does help.
if you have the passion and stay with it. It's longevity. If you stick with it, you know, and you're good, you're gonna do okay. But if you're just starting out, I tell someone just starting out, first thing, go go and get your training. Go to a good university that has a very good theater department.
And a few, name a few.
And Ball State.
Ball State, there's a local one. Carnegie
Cincinnati-
Mellon.
Carnegie Mellon, Cincinnati Conservatory of Music, NYU, Boston Conservatory. Northwestern, Western Michigan. I mean, these are all good schools. And go there, get your training, and then take any work that comes your way. Because training is great, but that only goes so far. Okay, you got to
Experience.
You got to experience. I mean, I learned the
best.
most
Me too.
in this business through experience, not through my training in school. Great, I'm glad I did it. But you know, get out there and just
Be with different directors,
just
be
go
with
for-
different
try to get- yeah,
choreographers.
try to get as
They
m-
all won't be great.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You're
And
gonna
you
work
learn
with-
from that
that's
too.
right. You work from your bad experiences as much as you
Yeah.
learn from your good ones.
Now, the one thing I'm most impressed with when I watch someone perform live on the stage is, number one, the repetition of having to do that performance
That's right.
over and over again,
That's
which
right.
means to me, by the time they've done like the 500th performance, they are like they're like the experts. I mean, they've evolved, you've grown. But what does that feel like when you're doing 2 shows a day and you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over?
Well, we got it.
Well,
That's why you have
gotta
to love it.
There are shows though. There are shows that they close and it just breaks your heart when you're done with it.
Yeah, I would
and there
think.
are shows when you're like, okay, I'm ready to be done now.
I'm so over this, right?
It's not necessarily over, but you just feel like you've
Well, you've-
gone
you-
as far
you-
as you
it's
can go
good.
with
It's,
it. But
you know.
but it's a learning. I can run a show and all of a sudden be like, oh. Like
You always discover
the third
something.
week or something, and be like, oh,
Oh, it's the third
like
month.
a discovery,
Not the third month, 6th
even.
month.
Like
I mean,
you discover
you know.
something new, or a new performer joins the cast, and it just completely changes everything. So that's what keeps it fresh.
Yeah,
Going
long
for
run,
like
yeah.
5-6 years on Broadway, like something like that, you're fortunate to do it. But I'm sure at some point you are thinking about what you're going to make for dinner at some point,
Right.
doing a laundry list.
Well, you did.
But then
well,
you go
it
out
has
there,
its
like
time.
sometimes you're performing, because to the audience it looks like you're so engrossed, but you feel like, gosh, are they nice? Like, gosh, I
Well,
wish this was over
here's
with.
I can
Tonight.
You
Not
can
necessarily
only,
I don't want to do it tomorrow.
No. You can only you get everybody's different, so you can only speak for yourself, right? But there are some nights you're like, oh, I'm going to the theater, and I'm like, oh God, I'm a little tired today, you know?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man.
once you get on stage.
But once, and really a lot of times it's more the prep. Not the show itself, it's the prep. You're getting there, you're getting your makeup on, you're getting your mic, you're mic'd, you're getting your wigs on. You know, you're warming up. That's more, more of the tedious, right? Then once you hit the stage, that all goes
It's
away.
great, and your audiences are different too, and
Yeah.
that makes your experience different.
Live
It's-
perform-
you know,
you know,
it
I
does.
know that
Like-
is.
and that
It's all about the audience.
Right,
You're either
right.
gonna have
And you
a
know
good
it
show
can
or you're
give you
not.
life.
right.
Like if that audience is full of life, it gives you life, and if that audience is like, quiet or tired from, and those audiences always those stand up, and we're always like they hate the show, and then they end up
So,
loving it.
yeah, you never know.
But I don't know. I think every show is different. I don't know if I ever am like, I can't wait for this to be over.
No, I've never felt that way, ever. I mean, there's always, like you said, there's always
Well, there is a
something
little
different.
matinee tempo sometimes when
Yeah.
you have 2 days.
We're like 2 show days,
Pick
matinee
it up.
tempo.
Matinee tempo.
Let's go. Don't lag.
Don't
2
lag.
shows.
You have an upcoming production?
It's
Okay,
correct.
let's talk about that. We got about 3 minutes left, 'cause
Okay,
and I want to
all
get
right.
into student theater education programs as well.
Yes, real
So
quick.
our upcoming show is Forbidden Broadway. And I always am going to pass it to Cindy because she knows more because she worked with the creator.
We do, this is the last show of our season. Our season runs September to May.
Okay.
And this show is the last production of our 2018-19 season at the Center for Performing Arts in the Studio Theater, which is our home. So this show is hilarious. It's called Forbidden Broadway because it's exactly what it is. It is a spoof on Broadway shows.
Oh,
And the
nice,
wonderful
okay.
thing about this show, which has started actually in the mid-'80s in New York, Gerard Alessandrini, who is the creator, I was fortunate enough to work with Gerard, he's brilliant. What he did was, when he started writing the show in the mid-'80s, it was just a little cabaret show they did in a little cabaret space. And 4-person show, it still is that. It keeps that heart to it.
Okay.
And spoofing all the current Broadway shows.
Oh, wow.
Now
Okay.
this Forbidden Broadway in New York ran for 25 years.
Changing all the time. though.
Changing
It-
with every Broadway season. Okay?
It
Wow.
changes.
Changing
Right.
constantly. Gerard,
A lot of
stop.
lines to remember.
But everything is, every time a new Broadway season comes up, he'd
Create a
write
new
the spoof for that, create a new show.
Oh,
So it
nice.
ran
Okay.
forever. He has stopped writing it now because he wrote Spamilton. Spamilton is a spoof on Hamilton.
Okay.
Gerard just focused on Spamilton, and that's what's running now. So my very good friend Billy Kimmel, who comes in and directs this show, this is our third production of Forbidden Broadway.
But this is a brand new
and
one
this
that
is
we're
this
doing.
one is completely all new material. We're keeping some of the classics like Les Mis, Annie,
Lion King.
Lion King.
Okay.
But we're adding Newsies and Little Mermaid and Book of Mormon and Miss Saigon, which is not a new show, but it's it'll be new for this.
Okay.
And so it's the old classic stuff with new material, and it is.
But we
if
need
you
to
want,
add in quickly, though, that it is like a
it is
bazillion costume changes
hilarious,
in like
too.
2 seconds.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that includes wigs. Like wigs, entire
So you're going to
costume.
see like 25 Broadway
we walk
shows.
off,
Exclusive
we
25
walk off,
Broadway
the
shows.
backstage is as good as on stage.
Okay.
We walk off, drop our clothes, pull on clothes, and walk
Yeah.
back on. I
Yeah.
kid you
So
not.
if
Like
you
me
wanna-
getting ready for work.
But it is
gonna-
like Saturday Night Live. Let me tell you, you talked about Saturday Night Live. It is like Saturday Night Live meets musical theater.
Okay. Okay, I love it. Okay, so that's April 26th through May 17th. We got the information on the screen.
Yep, great.
Very quickly, because I am out of
I know,
time.
sorry.
I know,
Student Theater Education Program
Yeah,
STEP.
Step with ATI. That is, as a not-for-profit, most theater companies are not-for-profit. And part of being a not-for-profit is you have an education program within your theater for young people. And this is the Student Theater Education Program. And we offer through that program, our educational directors offer workshops. Performance workshops, audition workshops, business of backstage for
Intensive.
kids who are technical and want to learn about theater. We also have improv for adults. We do that once a month.
Okay, nice.
Taught by Nick Carpenter, excellent improv teacher
SOAR.
here. SOAR is what is the workshops for the kids.
13
So you
grade.
soar. It's like you're soaring, to the heights of the best you can be.
So we've got their information on the screen as well, but I
Great.
thank you so much,
Awesome.
Judy Fitzgerald and
Yep.
then Cynthia Collins.
Yes.
Thanks, I was acting.
Oh, yes, that's very
I
good.
feel like I didn't know. Thanks so much for joining us on Inside Indy.
Thank you so
you.
much.
And thank
Appreciate
you
it.
for joining us. I'm Kelly Vaughn. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.